Welcome to First Parish in Framingham. My name is Terry Dixon, and I use he, him, his pronouns, and I'm honored to serve as your ministerial intern. Thank you, as always, for your love and your trust. May I always be worthy of them. We are a welcoming and affirming congregation, so whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your gender identity, and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. And we also welcome you, however you are joining us today, whether here in the meeting house or online. And please, let's wave to our friends online. Or, for that matter, if you are watching this service at some time in the future, you are welcome. And you belong here, maybe only for the next hour, but we hope for a little longer. We're happy to have you here. Please be sure to read the announcements in the order of service, and immediately following worship, we invite you to join us for coffee in Scott Hall across the courtyard. Please also take a moment to turn your phones or other devices to their quietest settings, worship mode if you like. But while electronic noises can be disturbing, we so welcome your human voices and noises, especially the sound of your singing and your laughter. So please, join in as much as you are willing and able. Since 1701, people have gathered as this community to rest or recharge, to be challenged or affirmed. Those people are like you. Just like you, they face times of transition, days of sadness, periods of change and uncertainty. But let us never forget that this community has been here, strong and resilient for 224 years and counting.
Longer.
Sorry, 324 I should say. I miss.
By a century.
Yeah, what's a century between friends? 324 years, indeed. And we will continue to be here for many, many more years. We too are strong and resilient people. So now, I invite you to take a deep breath in and out. Continue to take a few more breaths and begin to release whatever you need to let go of, to be more present for yourself, for one another, and for the sacred in this time and place. A flame within a chalice is the shining symbol of our living Unitarian-Universalist faith. Whenever we meet, we make our gathering place sacred and our time together holy by kindling our chalice flame. So let us light our chalice this morning with these words by Reverend Dr. Andrew C. Kennedy. We come to love a church, the traditions, the history, and especially the people associated with it. And through these people, young and old, known and unknown, we reach out, both backward into history and forward into the future, to link together the generations in this imperfect but blessed community of memory and hope. And so now I would advise you to rise in body or in spirit as we sing our opening hymn, number 358 in the Grey Hymnal, Rank by Rank. Again we stand. And please remain standing as we sing our song of affirmation and say our spoken affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve all life with compassion, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. This is our great covenant, one with another and with our God.
You may be seated.
And our reading today is Dawning by Yahya Lababida. There are hours when everything creaks, when chairs stretch their arms, tables their legs, and closets crack their backs, incautiously, fed up with the polite fantasy of having to stay in one place and stick to their stations. Humans too, at work or in love, know such aches and growing pains, when inner furnishings defiantly shift as decisively and imperceptibly as a continent. Something will stretch, croak, or come undone, so that everything else must be reconsidered. One restless dawn, unable to suppress the itch of wanderlust, when a heavy door left ajar semi-deliberately, and a new light teasing in. Some piece of immobility will finally quit. Suddenly, nimble on wooden limbs as fast as a horse, fleeing the stable.
Exactly. Are you ready? That's okay, I'm not either. We'll get through it. So, how was your week? As I hope you have heard by now, but perhaps because you are new, you have not, my ministry with you will be coming to... Man, get it together, Wisman. It's important to show emotion, and important too for people, especially who are male-identified, to show emotion. So my ministry with you will be coming to an end on July 31st, 2025. And I am pleased to share for the first time, about the same time as another congregation is finding out, that I have accepted the invitation to be the minister at the Grosse Pointe Unitarian-Universalist Church in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. This move will allow us to be closer to my wife's side of the family. Feels especially important. I'm not going to look at you, dear. I love you, but this is too tough. It feels especially, now everyone's looking at you. I'm sorry. We're going to be human here today, aren't we? It feels especially important for us to be present to the moments that make up our nephews' lives. The 14-hour drive will be replaced by a 3-hour drive, which is still a lot. We probably need to take the dog along with us still. But we are grateful for the opportunity to be an up-close aunt and uncle. Long-distance aunt and uncling is challenging. I just made that a verb. I know that many of you in this congregation have made choices similar to ours to be closer to family. So I hope you understand how good it is and how challenging it is too. Dear ones who are older will get older, and we will be closer to them. Yes, it does mean more distance between my side of the family and us, but I guess this is what happens when you fall in love with someone who is not your high school sweetheart. Positions for ministry, especially when you are trying to target a specific geographic area, can be few and far between. You cannot hope to just apply to work in a certain city and then get the job. You might know about it 1 or 2 years out, or you might need to wait 5 to 20 years for a dear colleague to move on. And then there's only one employer in that particular town, and they might not like you. This means that the timing of such moves is challenging and doesn't happen when you want it to. We were both surprised at how quickly this move happened. As a family and as a congregation, we are moving from one way of being to the next, and bodies and organizations tend to like to be objects at rest. Even slight reorientations can feel like threats to our way of being. And this is a pretty big reorientation. So any feelings of discombobulation, which is such a delicious word, those feelings are likely normal. There is another side to this, and we will get there. Transitions and the moments around transitions are weird. That's the only way to describe it. As you know, over last summer, I completed 2 sprint-length triathlons, and I have talked about this learning before. 3 different sports, 3 ways of moving through the world, one morning. And in between, you enter transition zones, where you put your shoes on, your helmet on, and you get on your bike and you go. Or you get off your bike and you take your helmet off and you start to run. The transitions, the exact skills of the transitions I can do better on. But it's the feeling of moving from one way of moving to the next that is so weird. It's such an embodied feeling of transition. Even the entry into the water from the dry land, that transition feels strange as well. Your body feels very odd when you move from one way of moving to the next. Now, this news probably feels sudden, as you learned on Wednesday. It can feel sudden, and I assure you it is also not sudden. The search process of ministers talking with congregations started on January 2nd and ended last Thursday, at least the quiet part. It reminds me of what Becky Chambers said in her Monk and Robot series. I've mentioned this before. Sibling Dex, the main character of these books in the very beginning, is a garden monk. Soon, they decide that's not how they want to be. They decide to make a shift in their vocation, in their primary identity of garden monk, to become a tea monk. Chambers writes, one day in early spring, Dex got dressed in the traditional red and brown of their order, bypassed the kitchen for the first time in the 9 years that they had lived at Meadow Den, and walked into the keeper's office. Sibling Dex announced, I'm changing my vocation. I'm going to the villages to do tea service. Sister Mara, the keeper of the order, says to Sibling Dex, that's rather sudden. Sibling Dex says, not for me. I think the moment where Sibling Dex decides that the truest thing they can do, the way to be the most authentic version of themselves is to change vocation, is probably what our poem that Terry read today describes. I imagine that the revelation to Sister Mara is like what the poet meant when he wrote, when inner furnishings defiantly shift, one restless dawn, unable to suppress the itch of wanderlust, with the heavy door left ajar semi-deliberately, and a new light teasing in, some piece of immobility will finally quit, suddenly nimble on wooden limbs, as fast as a horse fleeing the stable. So I said this on Wednesday night. I want to state this again clearly and concisely. I am leaving First Parish for no other reason other than to be closer to our Michigan family. I am not leaving parish ministry. You have taught me to love it deeply. And I especially love settled ministry. It is good to be in deep partnership and relationship with a community. This move has nothing to do with unhappiness here, but rather the uneasiness we felt, noticing that Lizzie and I were missing the moments that make up our nephews' lives, and my mother-in-law's lives, sister-in-law, father-in-law, all the in-laws. We were missing those. We want to be there for the band concerts and a few more football games and more of the birthday parties. I am not being pushed out because of any conflict. I have loved working with our staff. I've loved working with our lay leaders and with each of you, watching your children grow up, memorializing your beloved dead, watching you explore deeper spiritual understandings and watching you grow into a deeper version of yourself. All of that has been a true gift. And I'm sorry we will not have more time to grow together. I will always treasure these 5 years with you. And we do still have time together, about 3 months or so. I hope to do good ministry in those remaining few months here. And I have been saying all of this to myself for a while, and I hope that by sharing these words, it would ease some of your minds. I've been hoping that those words would ease my minds as well. I keep trying to frame it as a no-fault departure. The truth is that makes it all the more bittersweet. Ending something good is still sad. Later, I might get to talk about some of the traffic jams that I see in our congregation, but it's not the right tone for today. We started together in August of 2020, starting together in the midst of the unvaccinated, socially distant part of the pandemic. I think you and I were trauma bonded. I was recalling this earlier this week when I was talking with the chair of the search committee of the new congregation. Her saying, well, you know, you've been through a candidating week before. And I said, no. My candidating week included 35 Zoom meetings. You'll remember that first year of services were all online, most of them pre-recorded. Rebecca, you remember coming into the sanctuary to film all alone, Dean too. It was weird. And then the second year we had services outside in the fall, and blessedly it did not rain for any Sunday for like 11 weeks straight. And then we moved in here, and it was Zoom only as it got colder, and then we wore masks in the meeting house after Christmas. The work of the church continued, but it was vastly different than it was before. In some ways, we operated out of our regular scope of practice. Board members took on the role of being public health officials, tracking what David, remember all of those graphs that we were tracking? Oh, geez. And we all wrestled with what it meant to be a church. Now, some might not count that first year because we were all on Zoom and YouTube. Others say that first year needs to count double. I err on the side of counting double. I am glad that you will get a reset in a way and be able to start with a new minister who didn't start during COVID. I am also glad that I will be able to start with a new congregation where we didn't start during one kind of a traumatic time. But the people in my new congregation will know how tall I am from the very beginning. We won't have to navigate the chaos of that first congregational meeting with people speaking unmuted when they maybe should have been muted. I laugh because it's how we deal with tough things. I really believe that there is a lot of trauma from those early COVID years that we as a nation have not yet fully processed. And I'm not sure we ever will. But all of that deeply changed the work of the church. Now, there will likely be other work that you will determine you must do during an interim ministry or whatever ministry comes next. And that is fine and that is right. You will likely spend some time grieving my departure and imagine who your next minister might be. Not how they will look or who they are, but the kind of attributes that you appreciate in ministry. And you will know, and you will remember, and maybe you will tell this to them, that no minister is perfect. Please do not hope for another me. Your next minister will bring their strengths and their weaknesses just as I have. And you will learn to love that minister in time. This is not work that I can do for you. Now, I won't try and guess what kind of emotions you felt when you heard that I was resigning. I'm not going to tell you how to feel. The thing that I can do is I can affirm that those emotions are very human. and I am likely feeling some of them as well. I will say that this sermon right here is easily one of the strangest I have ever delivered. I do not have a lot of examples from my back catalog to preach on. There is a transition coming. It is bittersweet. There is sadness and there is joy, and it is because of me that it is happening. And yet, let us also remember that the world continues on. My departure and the necessary goodbye that will need to happen in the coming months is going to trigger other griefs as well. This move reminds me of so many other moves in my life. The anticipatory grief of other good goodbyes that you might be feeling, or challenging goodbyes. The remembrances of other goodbyes, kids moving off to college or moving away, parents or loved ones dying. There are likely other griefs, other rites of passage that you were hoping I would be there for, and now I am not going to be. Take care of yourself and turn towards community. And in the coming months, do be in touch with myself or the board. None of us are mind readers. If there's something you need, please reach out. It will be important to say goodbye well, because it will prepare this congregation for its next minister and also help prepare me for my next ministry in Grosse Pointe, Michigan. I will carry you with me. First Parish has done this ministerial transition thing before. 25 times, if I count right. I've never counted the list of the ministers on the Universalist side, which means the only thing constant here is change. We just need to look at the list of the names at the back of the sanctuary. As I look at that list of names, the list of ministers, see a list of people who all served for the time being. Each minister served knowing, I think, that they would occupy their role for a moment in time, serving in the ways that they knew best. I know of people who struggled, like John Ogden Fisher. His name is right at the back above where the Warner and Gould pew, where Anne and Heather and Sarah are sitting. John Ogden Fisher served in the chaplaincy corps during World War II, and he came back severely wounded. His son, Eric, is a member of my home church in Groton, and I once asked Eric about John. Doctors had told him, well, John, you either have the choice, you can stand for the rest of your life, or you can sit for the rest of your life. You cannot choose both. I know that he carried a lot of wounds from his service in the war. I think also, too, of Ralph Baldwin, who served right before John Ogden Fisher, and he got to dedicate this beautiful space that we worship in. And the minister before him, John Henry Wilson, who served this church when it burned down. He said in the newspaper article at the time, the church will rebuild quickly. It took 7 years. John Henry even applied and had an offer to candidate at another congregation. The board voted to reject his resignation. Don't do that with me. We're too far along. I learned that I missed something, but that's okay. I learned that John Henry Wilson later went on an extended summer vacation. I once saw his passport application to Europe right after that thing happened. He left a few years after that. I know there has also been great joy. I was remembering Patrick O'Neill's ministry, which some of you attended virtually the memorial service for Patrick yesterday, remembering lots of good ministry. Our affiliated community minister, Barb Grieve, was actually able to be there yesterday, so just so you know. I know that all of these people worked with devoted lay leaders who stayed long after those ministers left. To those of you who have just signed the book or who have the privilege of attending for the first time today, I've heard of so many people who attended on the first Sunday after the minister announced they were leaving. So many stories. I forget who has told me that story, but a number of you attended on that first Sunday with various ministers. Likely some of those ministers stayed too long and others left too soon. I think it is impossible for a minister, especially in settled ministry, to leave at the right time, though I would guess that I am likely leaving too soon for many of you. My friends gathered here, I want you to promise something, that you will all stay engaged in this beautiful community of communities, no matter what, no matter who the minister is. I know from looking out at some of you that you will fulfill this promise, no problem, because this is how you have always been. And that the only way out of this weird feeling of transition is to go through it. It might be tough, but the only way to go through it is together. And that is what we will do. We'll say, gosh, this feels weird. Gosh, I wish we were not doing this. We will say thank you, and then we will say goodbye. But until that time, still 3 more months to go. May it be so, and amen.
Might I suggest we take another breath? Reverend John Saxon reminds us, the offering we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to this place and to these people. It is as much a ritual as singing together, lighting our chalice, or reciting our unison affirmation. It is a reminder that form of love we call generosity. It is how we show that we believe it is important to worship together, to help our community, and to say yes to the values of our faith. If you already gave during the family service, or if this is your first time joining us, you are invited to let the offering plate pass you by. This morning's offering will now be joyfully given and gratefully received. This is the time in our service when we share the things that weigh deepest on our hearts, our milestones, and our happy and sad occasions. We share them because joy shared is joy expanded, and sorrow shared can feel as though someone is helping to bear our burden. You can submit your joys and sorrows either online or by writing them down in this book that is normally kept at the back of the sanctuary. And we'll intersperse our sharing with the song, "There is a Love." We do this so that our joys and sorrows can be held with song, but also so that you might have a song on your heart when you are either joyful or sorrowful. So we begin with the joys and concerns of our gathered community. Carol Boys has a candle of sorrow. She says that she was happy she could watch the memorial service for Patrick O'Neill, streamed by the Unitarian Church of Seattle, and that the service was a testament to a talented and dedicated minister. We feel so blessed that we heard him the first time, she says, when we came to church in 1986, since that was part of our decision to become members. He will be missed. We have an anonymous concern for the Venezuelan man who was sent to El Salvador prison without any due process, for the students who are getting kidnapped off the streets, and for all of the immigrants living in fear and with their rights stepped upon. And Anne and Dean have a candle of sorrow, thinking of Mum, whose birthday is Wednesday. She would have been 88. And Anne and Dean have another candle of concern, thinking of my cousin who was in a car accident last week. He's in the ICU at MGH and has some spinal fractures. And so let us now sing, "There is a Love Holding Me." There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all. I rest in this love. And these are the joys of our gathered community. Denise Moorhead has a candle of gratitude for the kindness and warmth with which First Parish has reached out to her since her husband Joe's death. She says thank you for all the cards, calls, hugs, and flowers she's received. And special thanks to Carol Lawson on the advice she shared, and to Sarah Mittelman and Sarah Morrison-Neal for sharing the news widely. She says there is more to come. And Larry Decker has a candle of gratitude with thanks for all of the support that he's received over the last 6 months. And David Rooney has a joyful candle for his brother Stephen, who finally got engaged to his long-term girlfriend, Andrea. And it was the same day that he officially joined this congregation, so a joyous day. And Oscar and Erin have a joy that Oscar has officially become a US citizen He became a citizen on Wednesday and has officially applied for his passport yesterday. And he's also taken Erin's last name, and so is now Oscar Liethenthal. And Deb has another joy, which is that with both some anticipation and sadness, but also joy, that she retired this past Friday from a rewarding career in high tech, which began back in 1978. She's filled with gratitude. And David Doucette is delighted to announce that he was able to get the broken piece of the clock welded and fixed this week, and it'll be installed after the church service. And if you want to check out the broken piece, it's up here. So come and check that out if you wish. Yes, don't touch, otherwise it'll just break again. And Kevin Stern has a joy that they visited their mum earlier this week. They went to a concert together, did a difficult jigsaw puzzle, and that they attended a school board committee meeting together. They say they cherish their time with her. And Vicky Carmen has another joy of getting ready to retire on April the 30th, and having been able to say goodbye to patients since February. It is a sad and happy time. And if we have one left, I don't know. We'll get one. There's just one more. This is a... Never mind, it will be a virtual candle. It is a good problem. So we will light one virtual candle for all those joys and concerns that are perhaps too great to share, but which we hold privately in our hearts. And also for all those people who do not have a community like this in which to share their joys and sorrows. So let us close by singing again, "There is a love holding us." There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding us.
Let us take a moment to notice what is supporting us. The ground beneath us, the chairs beneath us, the support and strength of this here gathered community. O ground of our being, mysterious presence, named and unnamed, but who calls us each by our true first name, which is beloved. This people will go on, strong and stable, because of the joys, because of the return each Sunday. I pray that they will be strong. Be with all of us who have expressed great joy. We know too that there are those in our midst who are disoriented, discombobulated, and topsy-turvy, mourning the loss of loved ones, anticipating other griefs, May this community gather to support, as it has for all of its history. The work ahead is tough. Bending the arc of the universe depends on all of our strength. And it is good that we do this work together. For like a choir knows when one takes a breath, the others continue to sing on. Let us be strengthened and fortified for the work to come. And from time to time, we slip up and we trip up with our words. We put distance between ourselves and others. We can be quick to temper. Because of our breath, our human breath in and out, there is always still time to reorient, to say, I am sorry, and to move back into right relationship with others. May all that is sacred hear these prayers. Amen. So let us sit in the quiet of this old house, and this house made new by our presence here. Let us sit so that we might listen, pray the prayers of our own hearts, or simply do nothing for the next minute. That is the only task you have to do. May this silence that we have kept here keep us in our coming week. So let's now rise in body or spirit. Both work just well, as fine, they're both good, to sing hymn 83, Winds Be Still.
Storm clouds pass.
And so as we go forth, let us take the light of love out into the world and use it to brighten our pathways. And when we need to rest or recharge, be challenged or affirmed, may that light guide us safely back. May we hold the light always, and the light hold us always. Amen, and go in peace.